Good morning. It is very, very early, but I wanted to go down to the garden and plant some seeds, and I wanted to do it before the cicadas are awake. So I think I'll go ahead and take y'all with me and show you what the cicadas look like down in the garden currently at rest. So the cicadas that we are dealing with here in our part is brood 19 is what they call it, and that is also known as the 13 year. So you can see right now most of what you're seeing here on this echinacea is husks. So they crawl out of their husks, and then so that's nothing. That's just the exoskeleton that they've left behind. There's a few that are not. But during the night, mostly husks, the cicadas just stop. I don't know if they sleep, but they just stop. You may be able to hear, if my mic picks it up, the distant noise of the cicadas screaming. But that's only way up in the trees where the sun has already hit. Most of what we're seeing on the fence here are husks. There's actually, I haven't been down to the garden for a few days because these guys just absolutely, when they swarm, they freak me out. There seem to be fewer than there were. When the sun comes out, they'll start to swarm, but you can kind of see along the fence. There's one that's caught in a spider web. The cicadas are the chickens of the insect world, which means everybody wants to eat them. But this echinacea plant just has me blown away by how many husks, and some live, that are on here. Here's the asparagus. It also has a lot of passengers on it. Okay, I'm looking at tomato plants right now. It's very weird for me to be now late June and I haven't been in the garden very much, but I planted a lot, and then it's like I just can't come down here during the day. It's just too creepy. Okay, they like my yarrow, or their pre-emergent selves liked my yarrow, because this is yarrow plant is absolutely covered in husks or exoskeletons. Same with the parsley, they like a lot. Also seem to like sage, although there's not nearly as many. There's a few exoskeletons. Sorry about the road noise. So let's go down and look at the peas, because those are viners, and I have in the past seen quite a few. Someone walking on the side of the road here. Sorry about that. Okay, so here's the peas. We have to get a lot of harvesting done today before the cicadas wake up. Kind of weird walking down in my garden and listening to someone have a argument out on the road. A lot of plants, but I'm not seeing nearly as many cicadas. And maybe that means they're finally waning. Okay, so I'm taking you over here to the raspberries, because the raspberries have quite a few. Not as many as there were though. Oh man. We are gonna have a great raspberry harvest. Okay, I'm gonna cut this video because the bickering couple out on the road is really annoying. So I'll pick it up in a little bit. All right, so sorry for the interruption. It was very weird to be taking video and having, 6 o'clock in the morning and having someone walk around out in the street having an argument. So I thought it was kinder to turn off the video so I didn't record this couple's embarrassing moment. Anyway, I am out now by the greenhouse, so just in front of the greenhouse where we have a couple of hibiscus plants growing. So I thought even I'll show you some of the gross cicada action. I'll also show you some of the things that we've got going here. So this is a new hibiscus that we planted this year. This is one that's indigenous to this area. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, there are a lot of husks in here. Oops, sorry, almost dropped you there. So there's some exoskeletons still on this little guy. And then this one came back from last year. It has the most beautiful red flowers. I know I can't remember what it's called, but it's really gorgeous, and I'm so happy that it came back. Over here is this 2-tier Vigo bed, which each year I plant, just some perennials on top, although the lilies came back this year, which is very nice. But I usually just plant some perennials that'll come out. And then this is marshmallow. So marshmallow comes back every year. It's fantastic for pollinators, and apparently cicadas like it as well. They like tall plants, and that's their instinct, is they dig out of the ground and then they just start climbing. Once they shed their exoskeletons, they just start climbing. They don't do any damage. They don't chew on anything. In fact, I've heard they don't even have mouths. But they just they conquer by numbers. Here is one of the peach trees, an example of how the cicadas are looking just to climb. You'd think that these would be peaches, but it's not. It is exoskeletons that are really hard to get off. We will have to vigorously shake them off. But you can see they're everywhere on this peach tree. I wish we had peaches like this. And the same over here is peach tree. I don't think we're going to get any peaches this year because we got a late frost. 4th year in a row. But hey, climate change is a hoax, right? Anyway, you can see these are cicada husks all over this peach tree. I do see a lot of people cover their young trees with the cicada swarm. But I believe the reason for that is simply because the young trees, when they are completely covered with cicadas, I think there's 2 problems. I think there's one, that the weight of the cicadas can do damage. And the second is that they perhaps don't get enough sun to photosynthesize because they're so completely blanketed in cicadas. That's my educated guess, though, because I don't think they eat the plants, because if you don't have a mouth, you can't eat. So this is the potato patch. It's exciting. It's starting to flower. And next to it is our greatly downsized shallots. Last year we had an insane amount of shallots. They've lasted us all year. We're coming to the end now of the shallots, the fresh shallots anyway. We've frozen a whole bunch of them, but it was enough for us, and I gave away quite a lot to family as well and to friends. So yeah, we're gonna have plenty for us this year. We are out here always. There's cicada exoskeletons all over these, but we're out here all the time picking the scapes off, because you have to take the scapes off in order for the bulb to develop, and you miss them all the time, so it's a constant battle. I'll Oh my God, there's so many exoskeletons on these. It's really unbelievable. We get one more and then I'll make you follow me through this process. Okay, and then over here is the garlic, which is also starting to set scapes. You can see it's starting to set scapes, and this is kind of even redundant to say, but there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cicada exoskeletons out here. We're going to have to start cutting these because they are starting to curl, which means they're ready. But that might be something that we do tomorrow morning. I'm not going to be out here much longer because as soon as the sun really comes up, the swarm starts. Right now, it's a little bit cloudy, so the cicadas haven't really woken up, except for the ones that are way up in the trees. Okay, over here, the fence, right outside the gate, we have the clematis growing. That comes back every year. The other thing I did this year is I sowed this with sweet peas. I love sweet peas. It's one of those things that reminds me of the Pacific Northwest because they grow wild everywhere there. I've never been able to get them to do very well here, and I think it's just because our spring is so short and they really don't like hot weather. So they tend to die early, and we've had a couple of hot days already. I'm trying to establish a mint bed here, and believe it or not, I'm struggling. I think it's just that the soil is not especially well suited for mint. Establishing a thyme bed here. And this is our blackberries, which apparently the cicadas love to shed their exoskeletons and to just spend the night. This is the second year with the blackberries. As they say with berries and fruits, their first year they sleep, the second year they creep, the third year they leap. So I am expecting next year will be a big leap year. I'm going to show you this. This is just, I don't know, it's some nuisance tree growing out of the bottom of this great big elm. And it's absolutely covered in exoskeletons. Oh my God. And a few that are just napping. Yeah, so here we are at the south end of the garden. Okay, I'm only going to come in really briefly to show you a couple things because I want to get out of here before they all wake up. So we've got some Blue Boy bachelor's buttons. Have some others that I planted this year too, Red Boy and Black Boy, and they haven't done anything yet. Establishing a new chive bed. The flowers are coming kind of to the end. They're really beautiful. But we just wanted them to flower because we really want this bed to fill out. And then over here is another one of the new things that we're doing this year is garden huckleberries. You can see these are all covered with these little cloches that keeps the rabbits off. We don't know if the rabbits would be into garden huckleberries, but just in case. So you can see these are already starting to set fruit. The garden huckleberries, they cannot be eaten unripe, and apparently they're really, really sour, so you need to sweeten them, but they're supposed to be really yummy. Got some volunteer potatoes. I'm kind of letting volunteers do what they want to do this year, as long as they're not actively in the way, except for stuff like this. Because volunteers are really cool. They're unbelievably hardy. For example, this fire ring right here, every year I just let it volunteer with sunflowers. They do so much better than any that I plant each year from seeds, so I just let the sunflowers take them over, and every year it's spectacular. So I'm kind of inclined to let the volunteers do their thing. Okay. Yeah, so another example of volunteers right here. There's a couple of sunflowers. I have no idea what they are. They just volunteered, so. But okay, they're not in anyone's way, so they can stay there. More tomatoes. And our green onion patch. Now, green onions, we are probably the vegetable that we go through the most. Now, they're cheap to buy at the store, but it is so much nicer to not have to go to the store every time you need some green onions. So if I've heard that if you establish a bed and say the first year just take all but about 25% of it, let it go to flower, you'll never buy green onions again. So we'll see. We're going to give that a try. Let this bed just be completely devoted to green onions, except for right down the middle where I have some bulbing onions in my last chance experiment that I might actually be able to get bulbing onions to grow. But we're going to let this patch just be green onions. Well, that's it for me today. I'm going to head inside because the cicadas are starting to wake up. I'm really hearing them in the trees. I just haven't seen them start to swarm yet, but it happens like all at once, and I don't want to be out here. So I'm going to take my turnips in, get them put away, and hope everybody has a great day. And I will try to do a few more of these videos once I'm no longer freaked out about being outside. So catch you later.